Have you ever wondered why you can't learn?
Are you tired of not succeeding in life?
Then fret not. I'm here to save the day. Uh, okay, let's get started. Welcome to the show, everybody. Ahoy, mateys. And my friends. Today I'm going to be talking about or teach you how to learn things. Okay? So, let's take Unity for example. Okay, so the first thing you do is that you look up a bunch of tutorials. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear. Tutorials, but come on. Yes, tutorials. Now, here's how to get started with a software, though. Get into the software, you see a bunch of tools. You're overwhelmed already. Like, oh my god, how do I learn this? Which is fine. It's a valid feeling. But then that's why you gotta look up at least a basic tutorial, right? I complained about tutorials, I guess, a while back. Is because, especially with Unity, like a game development software, I went through a bunch of tutorials, and then I realized I learned absolutely nothing. Like, I don't know. I mean, I had many issues, okay, but I couldn't just make a game by myself. Now, sure, I copy pasted all the code and stuff and made a copy game or whatever, but I couldn't make anything by myself. I couldn't experiment. I couldn't come up with creative solutions to a problem I created for myself. So yeah, I mean, I just couldn't. So I was frustrated, and it took me years to realize how to actually learn. So let's take a step back and take a look at other software. Let's take Blender for example, or you could say a CAD software or anything. But I mean, Blender is not CAD, but you know what I mean. So let's take an example. Let's take Blender as an example. You get into Blender, you see a bunch of tools. You don't know what they do, right? So you look up a basic tutorial first. And the basic tutorial would teach you the basic tools to get started. Now, that's good. You got started. And once you learn everything, once you need to learn everything, you got started, right? That's good. Then you don't really have to look for more tutorials. Now, you can, which is totally fine. You can look up advanced tutorials, but you don't have to. You can just now that you got started with something basic, you can do basic things. So now you just take a look at tools you don't know, and then you just look it up. Okay, what does this do? What does that do? Right? So that's how you just expand your skill set. And just like that, in a few days or months, you'd be pretty good at what you do. Then you have to practice. You have to like make new things with that, depending on what the skill makes you do, right? So for Unity is a, for me at least, it was a tough nut to crack, because Unity, now there are tools in Unity. Obviously, you get into the software, then you see a bunch of tools. But then, I mean, you can manipulate objects and create an object and make some stuff happen, which is fine. But then the problem comes with scripting. Now, it's not like the scripting tells me what API class or whatever those programming terms are I need to learn. So the scripting, like there's Unity doesn't exactly tell me that. Okay, So you look up a bunch of tutorials. Now if you're like me, you've followed through a bunch of tutorials, but you couldn't exactly learn anything, that's fine. You do the same thing again, but this time you do this different. You don't just copy paste code. You don't even have to understand the coding. You don't have to understand the programming. All you have to understand, if you already know programming, that's great, right? If you already know the programming language, specific programming language for this software, which is good. You don't have to understand the coding. At least that's what I did. I tried really hard to understand a tutorial's programming, right? Or how the person did it. You don't have to understand the person's programming. You just take a look at what they use, what tools they use, what API classes they use to do the specific thing that you wanted to do. You take a look at those, and then you just look them up. What does this do? What does that do? And try to do it on your own. Try to apply it yourself with your own programming abilities. Okay, so yeah, that's at least that's how I do things right now. So yeah, that's one way to do it. That's one way to do it. You can also like look up tutorials obviously, but you can like copy paste the person's code if that's what you are looking for, which is fine. You can copy paste that and you can use that to speed things up, but you have to also make sure that you understand the code, you understand what's been used in it, you understand the tools, you understand the API. You gotta make sure of that. Okay, you can also use AI. I know a lot of people don't like AI. You can vibe code, but then again, you have to make sure you understand what the AI gave you. You know, like, don't be like a blind vibe coder or whatever. If you want to build up your skills, then you have to understand. Okay? You have to understand, and then you can call it a day. You have to make sure that you can do it yourself. So yeah, that's about it.